we are officially in 2024. So if you're watching this, Happy New Year. I took a little break at the end of the year, but now I'm back and I wanted to make this video to talk about what I hope for the One Piece card game in 2024. Now, there are a lot of things that I would love to have for this game that would benefit mostly the community and also for all the One Piece fans out there. I thought to make a video, talk about my wants, and at the end of 2024, I'm going to come back to this video and see how many of these predictions or wants actually did happen for 2024. Now, without further ado, let's talk about my wants for the One Piece card game in 2024. So the first one, I wrote this down, it's to focus on characters that are outside of the more popular characters. For example, in OP05, we had a whole Skypiea set with Enel, with all of the Shandora warriors, but we didn't really get like characters like Nolan and Kelgara, and I feel like those characters should have a certain spotlight, especially in the sets that's focusing on like those stories. Of course, we're gonna focus on the main characters in Skypiea arc, but I would love to kind of shine a brighter light on some of these characters that we have not seen in a while in the manga/anime. So for example, Nolan, like I said, Kalgara, even Wapol should get some screen time in the One Piece card game, and I hope that eventually in the future we will have leaders or characters, super rares or whatever, that focuses on these characters, these side characters. What's my Gaimon leader, man? I want my Gaimon leader. And instead of making like multiple Luffy leaders, I get it, like Luffy is the face of One Piece for sure. He is the captain himself, and I'm happy to have more Luffy leaders. But I would love to see, where's our Buggy leader? Where's our Blackbeard leader? Like, we should have a set focusing on like the Blackbeard crew, and I think that would be really cool. So that's my first want from One Piece card game in 2024, to focus on characters outside the usual few that we see. I would love to have more of these side characters that are also equally important to the story coming back to the One Piece card game. So that's my first one. Now, the second point is also kind of related to the first. It's just cooler sets in general and more viable supports. Now, I do understand that EP01 is coming out and it's printing out supports for previous archetypes. You can find out more about EP01 over here, like Baroque Works, Dressrosa, and Impel Down. But I want to see more, so I'm pretty sure there will be like EB02, EB03 that will focus on more obscure sets or like archetypes in the game itself. For example, we had a little bit touch and go on Celestial Dragons. Not that I think anyone would want to play Celestial Dragons, but I'm pretty sure it's been planned to include these archetype and more cards for it in the future. If you played Celestial Dragons, no judgment. Everyone has their favorite character in One Piece, but yeah, those are the kind of sets that I would like, or supports that I would want. I mean, if you want to support Baroque Works, make sure you do it good so that the previous old leaders or crocodile leaders can be viable in the current meta game. And like, speaking of cooler sets, I'm talking about like Blackbeard, this whole crew, a set maybe focusing on that. And also, and this might be a little bit of a spoiler, so if you're not totally caught up, just skip by a minute or so. I want to talk about the Rocks Pirates, man. I want to talk about the God Valley incident. I would love, and 100% would love, to have a Roger leader, a Rayleigh leader, or Rayleigh super rare in his prime, Whitebeard in his prime. Of course, Rocks Razorback won't be a leader until we have more information about that character in the manga/anime. But wouldn't it be cool to have like Goldie Roger as like a chase card or like a leader itself? I think that would be really good, like a whole legend set, the original 4 Yonkos, the new Yonkos, yeah, more Shichibukai support, something like that. Just cooler sets in general. I hope that it's a thing for this year. I'm really looking forward to that. Speaking of like cooler sets, I want a specific theme set. Now, this will be really good in like extra boosters where it's not really tied to any particular arc, and you could do like a really cool theme set. For example, I've been talking about this for the longest while. I think like a really good move by Mana, if they want to make that money, is to have a waifu set. Like, One Piece has so many different characters, lovely waifus that everyone has a fan of. Ulti, Yamato, Uta, Nami, Boa Hancock, my girl Nico Robin, Perona, and so on and so forth. So if there's like a specialty set, you know, similar to how like Pokemon does their shiny Pokemon set, it could be a specific waifu set. I think that would sell out really quickly. So, or even cooler would be a specific villain set, like antagonist set. So we have like more Katakuris, more Doflamingos, any major fight that Luffy had with a particular antagonist would be inside this particular set. We will have a dedicated Dofi leader again, we have Katakuri again, Blackbeard hopefully in the future, Magellan, and I think putting them all into one cohesive like antagonist set would be really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully this year might be a thing. We gotta wait and see. Now for the rest of this kind of ones, it's more to do with the community. Like I would love, and this one I wrote it down, regulated pricing by reprinting more supply than demand. And this is mostly for the English release, because I have seen some crazy pricing on some of the cards out there, not only for like the bigger chase cards like the manga Luffy or any mangas in particular. I'm talking about super rares. I saw recently, and I believe it's Vampire Gaming that tweeted out, like Eustace Kid, OP01 Eustace Kid super rare is like going for a ridiculous amount of money. Like over in Japan side, we do have a lot of supply and the demand is there. People are buying like boxes like crazy, and it leads to the super rares being relatively cheap. Like you could get a whole playset of maybe something like a super rare Shanks from OP06 for like less than 10 bucks. If it's more of the playable ones, like let's say Borsalino, super rare, the blocker, the 4-cost blocker, then it'd probably be a little bit more expensive. Maybe the $4, $5, maybe even $6, $7 per copy. Gecko Moria is pretty up there at about like $10 to $12. But yeah, these are kind of the prices you should be expecting for regular super rares, non-alternate arts. And it's crazy that the English release is charging like a ridiculous amount for normal super rares. And I feel like because, you know, for the English release, it's a wider audience. You guys have bigger populations in the area that you guys see in the United States, Europe in general. There's a lot more people there, which means that Bandai needs to print like a ridiculous amount of supply to meet demand. And they should, because not doing that, you kind of like affect not only the current players who want to play the game, but it's a natural barrier of entry for newer players who want to get into the game, and for them to get like cards that they want to use for competitive play would hinder them because the cost of entry is already too high. And One Piece shouldn't be that kind of game. The cost of entry shouldn't be high for regular super rares. If you want to bling out the deck, if you want to go full AA, sure, go ahead. The prices can be fluctuated a little bit, it could be a little bit higher, but for regular super rares, for playing, regulate that shit. I mean, it has to be affordable. I want the game to be affordable for every single person in the world, and you solve that by just printing more supply. Right now, I think Bandai 5 sets in should have an idea on how much they should print per set. It may be a logistical issue. This might not be an easy fix because of the scale of it. I truly do understand that, and I do not fault Bandai for printing out like a short supply first. But they have to understand the market is going crazy. This game is amazing and people want to jump in and play it. So the more super rares there are out there that are affordable, the better it is for everyone in this game. So that's one of the points that I want to talk about. The next one is actually something that I feel should happen more, which is functional reprints of meta-defining cards. One of the examples that I can give is about Gordon, who has a functional reprint in the form of Crossmax, I believe that's the name, in OP06. And they should honestly do that for some of the cards out there, especially those found in older starter decks. For example, the 5-cost 6000 blocker Queen should have a functional reprint. It is a very powerful staple for purple decks in any decks that can use it, not only dedicated to like purple Luffy. Yeah, all the Kaido players can play it, Reiju can play it, any purple deck can play it because it's just a really great card. And they should print that effect, that same effect, same stat line maybe, 5-cost 6000 power, counter 1000, don -1, draw 2, discard 1, and with blocker. They should print that on another card in a main set so that it's a functional reprint and everybody's happy. Like if you want to play specifically Queen, you can. And then if you want to play the functional reprint, you can, and hopefully prices will be regulated. It all comes back to that. That's one of my wishes for 2024, is to just regulate pricing so that people can come into the game and enjoy it. And I speak that from the bottom of my heart. Like, we'll talk about the collectors and all of the insane pricing for the chase cards in a future video. I do want to address that at some point. But for regular players, people who just want to play the damn game, make it so that they have access to certain functional reprinted cards at an affordable pricing. And that's one of my biggest hopes for not only 2024, but for the One Piece card game moving forward. My next one for the One Piece card game in 2024 is more cohesiveness between the East and the West. Like right now, I've been talking about this for so long that we are separated by like one entire set. We in the Japanese release play OPO 6, people in the English release play OPO 5, and it always feels like two separate card games, even though we are talking about the same cards, the same meta game, and it will affect like content creators as well, because like for the English release, they want to talk about the English cards in OPO 5, but when OPO 6 comes out, they want to talk about them, but they're already making content about it, so it's like repeated. And I feel for those people, for me, it's like less, I don't talk about the English metagame as much. I do talk about what happened in the Japanese metagame during that time. So for example, like I'm in OPO 6, I talked about OPO 5. So it's less of a hassle for me. I'm thinking more about my fellow friends, my fellow content creators in the English space. If we have more cohesiveness between the East and the West, I think this game will grow together overall, and it'll be just a really good thing. I think they did it with Digimon, so I hope they do it again with One Piece card game and make it so that we are both sharing like a similar release. That would be the great thing. And my last one of One Piece card game for 2024 is an official sim, or at least transparency in plans telling us that they are working on a simulator. Now, I know how like big companies work, especially when they're trying to create a new product, like especially like a digital online client. It's gonna take them long because there's a lot of stakeholders that have to kind of be involved with this. There's a lot of licensing issues, that's one thing. And also, if they do like a official sim or like an online client, would that affect sales of physical products? So I do understand like the conundrum behind it, but I am in the camp that not only is an online official sim gonna be beneficial for all players, but it will eventually boost up sales for the One Piece card game, because people can try out the game on sim or on an online client, and then after that they become converted into official fans and they buy the physical product. Tournaments and everything, don't do it online, do it in person. Treat it like Pokemon, treat it like a PTCGO, or now is it what, Pokemon Live or something, like a way for people to test, create content on, or like play the decks that they want, and then have the tournaments in IRL, in person, and that will be like a good happy medium. Basically, just follow what Pokemon is doing in terms of like how they're handling like online versus physical cards, and I think they're doing it very well. And that's what we should. But you know, we already have an unofficial sim in the form of OPTCG sim. Shout out Batsu, great client for us to test with. I really appreciate all his effort and hard work on maintaining the same every single set. But you know, if Bandai can take the reins and have an official one and make it easily accessible for people, they'll be really good. So there you go. Like, that's my kind of hopes and dreams and wishes for a One Piece card game in 2024. 2023 was a great year for the One Piece card game. We had OPO 5, we had the anniversary set, we had signed Oda's Manga Gear 5 Luffy, and a slew of tournaments, slightly healthier metagames at the end of the year, and I hope that this continues on to 2024. I don't think that One Piece can break the top 3 card games like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering. I think those 3 have enough legacy and enough years behind them that they are fully cemented in the top 3. But One Piece can definitely be the new number 4, the new Yonko essentially for the card game like space. I don't think Lorcana is gonna take it. I don't think like the new Star Wars game is gonna take it. I don't think like Digimon is gonna get there, or Dragon Ball Fusion World is gonna get there. It's going to be One Piece. I believe that in the bottom of my heart, it's gonna be One Piece. One Piece is gonna be the new stay, and the only way that it won't be at the main like top 4 is if somehow Bandai messes it up. So Hopefully that doesn't happen, and I hope that One Piece card game will continue strong this year. We'll do a recap video at the end of the year, looking back at this video, seeing whether some of these ones actually came true. But thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. I recently reached 17,000 subscribers. Gonna push for that 20. More content coming out soon. For sure, I'm trying my best to film more, to talk more about the game. But yeah, hope you guys have a great year ahead. Happy collecting, happy playing the One Piece card game. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.